Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Daysi DIY. Today I'm gonna share with you guys an easy and beautiful home decor. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Thank you so much.
For the first project,
We're gonna be using these beautiful wood candle holders that I got at this thrift store, and it cost $2 and there were only 2 pieces. I was looking for a few more, but that was the only 2 pieces that we got. I'm gonna be using this spray paint. So what I did, I just did one coat and I just let it dry completely. I did something wrong. I forgot to do one coat of this spray like to seal, so it can hold way better the spray paint. And once I distressed it, the paint, it came out really bad and I was so worried because I didn't like it, and I will show you in a minute once I distress it. And to paint that kind of holder, I'm using the Rust-Oleum paint on color white. I just did one coat and I just let it dry, and once it was completely dry, I did a second coat. I'm gonna be using this metal bottle cup and I got it at Dollar Tree, and I'm just using the same spray paint and I just let it dry completely. And to paint it, we're using again the Rust-Oleum paint on color white. I just did one coat and I just let it dry completely. I'm gonna go back again with the candle holder. I went with a piece of sandpaper just to distress it a little bit, and you guys can see the paint, it came out like right away. But I just distressed it at the way that I want my candle holder, and it was really easy fix. I just went over with the Rust-Oleum paint and it just covered a little bit those big pieces where the paint, it came out completely. So like I mentioned, if you guys gonna create this project, I will recommend you guys to use any clear sealing spray to seal it first. Then you guys can apply the color of your preference. Like I said, I did it wrong, and you guys see it turned out really beautiful at the end, but just learn from my mistakes. And also I just went over and distressed it a little bit. This metal bottle cup, it turned out way better because the spray paint, it holds way better. I'm going to be using another beautiful image of this free printable that I found on Pinterest, and I just cut one piece and I just placed it on the middle, and it was a touch didn't need. It turned out really beautiful, and I just did first one coat on Mod Podge and I just placed the image, and I did another coat to seal it very well. And I just used a little bit of hot glue in a combination with E6000, but I think it's just way better just to use E6000, and I just put some pieces of the painter's tape so it can hold it into it dries completely. And I just removed the pieces of the painter's tape the next day. And the other thing that I regret, I'm like, I didn't cover the holes where it had the hanger. But if you guys want to recreate this project, you guys can cover those holes, or once you place like a candle or greenery on the top or any decor piece that you want to place, I'm pretty sure it's not going to show those holes.
for the next DIY,
I'm gonna be using this metal stand that I had on hand. So to paint it, I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white. So you guys can see I'm not painting it all the way because I want that color brown to show a little bit. So I just did one coat and I just let it dry. And I just want to mention, if you guys don't have this exactly metal stand, you guys can use the wood crates that Dollar has, and you guys can just paint it at the way that you guys want it, and it will look really beautiful. The next thing, we're gonna need 3 glass bases that I got from Dollar Tree, and here's the item number if you guys need it. So to paint it, I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white. So I'm gonna do first one coat and I'm just gonna let it dry. And once it's completely dry, I'm gonna do a second coat. And this is how it looks once it's completely dry. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to be using the Waverly chalk paint on color anti-wax to distress it a little bit. So you guys can see I'm just using a little bit of paint. Also, I'm using this small piece of butt sponge that I got from Dollar Tree. Also, I decided to distress it the metal stand, and I'm just using the same piece of butt sponge with the same Waverly chalk paint on color anti-wax. So you guys can see I'm just using a little bit of paint to distress it. The next thing that I decide to do, I'm using this piece of cloth that I had on hand, and it's a little bit wet, and I just blend the colors together, and also it removes the paint a little bit, and I just like it how it turns out. I'm going to use 6 Temp tags that I got from Dollar Tree, and to paint it, I'm going to be using the Waverly chalk paint on color anti-wax. So I just did first one coat and I just let it dry, and once it was completely dry, I did a second coat. Also, I'm going to be using this craft square adhesive cord sheet that I got from Dollar Tree. In total, you guys going to need 3. And it measures 3 centimeters wide and 19.5 centimeters long. And I just cut it at the side that I needed to go around of the base. So I decided to use this E6000 so it can hold way better that cord sheet on the glass. So I just put a little bit of the adhesive and I just place it all around the base, and it holds pretty good with the adhesive. So once it was done, I just put the 2 Temp tags on the top, and I just use hot glue to glue it. If you guys want a strong hold, you guys can use E6000. Also, I decided to remove with my pliers the Sharpie part from the Temp tags. I'm going to use this ribbon that I got from Walmart, and I'm just going to cut a small piece to put it right here in the middle of the glass, and I just use hot glue to glue it. Also, I decided to create a small bow to put it right here. So to put inside of the base, you guys can put any greenery and it will look really beautiful. Here how it looks with the first greenery, and here's another option with a different greenery to put in. For the next project, I just want to show you this beautiful planter that I had on hand. It's really beautiful, but I didn't like it, this ribbon that I had all around. I just removed it, and I decided to use a little bit of that Rust-Oleum paint to paint it. And I want to mention something that you guys can recreate this beautiful project using all the things from Dollar Tree. And I grabbed these jewelry border stickers that I got from Dollar Tree, and I grabbed one piece to place it all around on the top of the small planter, and with the remaining piece I just used my scissors to cut it, and I didn't use any hot glue or E6000 to glue it. It holds really well with the glue that I had, the sticker, and I went over just to paint it a little bit so it can blend all together, and it turned out really beautiful already. But let's use this beautiful pre-printable that I found on Pinterest. And I just want to mention, if you guys don't have this same pre-printable, you guys can grab these grab-on transfer stickers, or you guys can just use the sticker letters and just put any word. Or if you guys have a Cricut, you guys can use your Cricut too. I just want to give you an idea, so I just place one image on the front and other one on the back so I can switch my planter. I'm going to be using a little bit of the anti-wax just to distress it a little bit. It turned out really beautiful and it was really simple and easy to create this project. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this other project?
For the next DIY,
I'm going to be using one clip cup that I got from Dollar Tree, and here's the item number if you guys need it. So to paint it, I'm going to be using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white. So you guys can see I'm not painting that clip cup all the way because I want the color black to show a little bit. So I just did 2 coats and I just let it dry. Also, I decided to paint inside of the clip cup. The next thing, I'm going to be using this wire jute cord that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut 2 pieces, and it measures 4 inches if you guys need the measurements. So once we were done cutting the 2 pieces of jute twine, we're just going to put the 2 pieces together and we're just going to start twisting the 2 pieces of jute twine together. So once I was done, I decided to use this jute twine that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to wrap the end of the handles a little bit so it can have this finished look. So I just wrap it a few times, and once I was done, I just used hot glue to hold the jute twine. And once I was done, I just start folding the wire jute twine so we can give this shape of a handle, and I just create another one so we can have 2 handles to put it right here on the small basket. And to glue it, I'm just gonna use hot glue, but if you guys want a strong hold, you guys can use E6000. So the next thing, I'm gonna be using this adhesive board sheet that I got from Dollar Tree. It measures 8 centimeters long and 3 centimeters wide. So once we're done, we're just gonna remove the paper from the top. I'm gonna use this E6000 to glue it so it can hold a little bit longer, because I don't know if the adhesive that they have it will last. So once I was done, I just put a little bit of hot glue inside. So I'm gonna be using these stickers that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna start spelling the word fresh. So once we put the word, we're just gonna use this Mod Podge to put it on the top of the letters so they can last a little bit longer. I just did 1 coat and I just let it dry. So once we put the adhesive board sheet, you guys can use the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white to distress it a little bit. And once we're done doing that, we can put the letters on the top so it can show way better. But if you guys want to distress the letter, you can do it opposite way and it will look really beautiful. And to display, I just used this wood palette to put it right here on the bottom to put our basket on the top. For the next project, I'm going to be using this beautiful love heart that I removed from a jar. What I'm going to do to paint it, I'm using the same anti-wax and I just did 1 coat. And to distress it a little bit, the heart, because it was not blending with my milk jar that I'm going to be using. So I just used that Rust-Oleum chalk paint on color white, and I just used a little bit of the paint, and it turned out really beautiful once I did this because it shows way better. I just did 2 knots on the top so it can give the effect that they have like wood beads, and it turned out really beautiful. And I just want to show you that I always use my lighter just to burn a little bit so it can have this finished look that I really love. And I just want to show you that I got this metal milk jar at Dollar General last year, and I'm not pretty sure if I paid that $4.50 for it or it was less than that because I'm always finding great deals when I go to the store. So I just placed the heart in the middle. And to place inside, you guys can use any greenery. I'm gonna be using this eucalyptus that I got at Walmart. It was a touch that I need, and it turned out really beautiful. I love it. But please let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this easy project that I create for you guys?
For the next DIY,
We're going to be using this base that I had on hand, and I had it for a really long time, so I decided to do something different with this base because I really love it how it looks and all the texture that they have this base. So the first thing, I'm going to be using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white that I got from Amazon. So you guys can see I'm not painting it all the way because I want the color that has on the bottom to show a little bit through. First I did one coat, and once it was completely dry I did a second coat, and the brush that I'm using to paint it, it's from Dollar Tree. And this is how it looks once it's completely dry, the first coat, and it's when I decide to do the second coat. And once it was completely dry, I decided to use this sandpaper that I got from Dollar Tree to distress it a little bit, especially the edges of the base. I'm going to use a few pieces of this greenery to put it inside. You guys can put anything and it will look really beautiful. For our next project, I'm going to be using this basket that I had on hand. I had it for a really long time. So to paint it, I'm going to be using this Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white. And I'm just going to do one coat first, and I'm just going to let it dry. And once it's completely dry, I'm going to do a second coat. So you guys can see I'm not painting it all the way because I want the color brand to show a little bit. Also, I decided to paint inside of the basket and also the handle. The next thing we're going to be using a piece of cardboard. I didn't measure anything, I just kind of eyeball it. So I just create a circle first. And once I was done, I'm just going to be using this image that I had on hand. I'm so sorry, I cannot remember from where I got it once again. I decided to paint the top of the cardboard, and for that I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white. So I just did one coat and I just let it dry. Also, I just paint the edges of the cardboard. So once it was completely dry, I'm going to put my image on the top. I'm going to be using this Mod Podge to put it. So I'm going to put the image on the side that we didn't paint it, because I want the paint part to be on the back so it can has a finished look. And once we're done, I'm going to do another coat on Mod Podge to seal the image so it can hold very well. I'm going to use a piece of this jute twine that I had on hand, and I just measure at the side of the circle. So once I was done, I just decided to distress it a little bit, and for that I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint on color white. So you guys can see I'm just using a little bit of paint. The next thing we're gonna do, we're just gonna glue the jute twine around the circle, and for that I'm just using hot glue to glue it. So you guys can see I just have extra jute twine, so for that I just use my scissors to cut it, and I just reinforce it with more hot glue at the end of the jute twine, and this is how it looks once you're done. So I'm just going to place it right here in the middle of the basket, and to glue it I'm just going to use hot glue. Also, I decided to create this small bow to put it right here because it seems like I was missing something. And also, to put inside of the basket, I'm just gonna put a few pieces of this grenier that I had on hand. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. It turned out really beautiful. I love it. But please let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project? So that was it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified every time that I upload new video. And please don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much and have an amazing day.